What if you were sent to destroy the Earth and instead fell in love with it? Too Cute Crisis might sound like a cute sci-fi comedy about cute animals, and in many ways it is. But beneath its lighthearted surface, this show is a quiet reflection on the innocence and wonder that still exists in the world, and how reconnecting with that wonder can heal something very human in us. It's a story about discovering beauty in what others might take for granted, about finding empathy in unexpected places, and about how one single cat can make you change your worldview. From a psychological perspective, this narrative acts as a beautiful case study for what biologist E.O. Wilson termed biophilia, our innate evolutionary tendency to seek deep connections with nature and other living things. It's a mechanism deeply tied to our emotional regulation, mood improvement, and our capacity for pro-social behavior. The emotional core of Too Cute Crisis begins with Lisa Luna, an alien sent to Earth to evaluate whether humanity and the planet itself is worth preserving. Her mission is simple: observe, judge, and if necessary, recommend planetary destruction. But then she walks into a cat cafe and everything changes. Lisa, who comes from a hyper-advanced civilization, is immediately overwhelmed and taken aback by the sheer cuteness of Earth's animals. She is speechless, starts trembling, her alien logic short-circuiting as she realizes how extraordinary and how alive these creatures are. What's really fascinating about this is how used to it the humans around her are. They see cats and dogs every day. They scroll past videos of kittens online without a second thought. And Lisa's awe becomes a nudge at how numb we have become to the everyday wonder of the beautiful things around us, especially the beautiful animal species around us. If we make a little effort to perceive the world through her alien eyes, we begin to reawaken a childlike amazement in everything, which is really important because we should always be nurturing and not letting our inner child die. And the more we witness Lisa's amazement, the more we question ourselves, when did we stop being amazed by life? One example of this is the first episode when Lisa first arrives on Earth. Lisa literally faints from cuteness, from witnessing the cuteness around her. And this fainting, this really comical fainting, is a manifestation of what some psychologists describe as awe-induced cognitive shift. When we encounter novel, highly vast, or aesthetic stimuli, the overwhelming sense of awe reduces our psychological stress, expands our strict mental frameworks, and fundamentally rewires how we perceive the world around us. So, for Lisa, in an instant, her entire destructive worldview is shattered by the weight of wonder. One of the most poignant scenes happens when Lisa discovers a cat that has been abandoned. She can't comprehend why any human would discard a creature so full of life and warmth. Her confusion is heartbreaking because she is right. This moment captures something truly human, our capacity to disconnect from empathy, to justify neglect by convenience. For Lisa, who was ready to destroy the Earth moments before, this is the first time that she feels pain for another being. And she decides to adopt the cat, not out of pity for the cat, but out of reverence for what the cat starts meaning to her. And in doing so, she steps into something profound, the instinct to nurture. And this is quite ironic that an alien sent to erase humanity becomes more human than many of us are willing to be. What we are witnessing here is a profound awakening of empathetic concern, a foundational element of emotional intelligence. When we experience true empathetic concern, The distress of another creature overrides our pre-existing cognitive bias or rigid schemas. Lisa's violent alien directives completely dissolve the moment she encounters Yozora, the cat, in the middle of the rain, proving that empathy is an unaligned force that demands immediate pro-social action. There's also a brilliant subplot about the man who runs the cat cafe. He wears a suit when meeting customers or handling business matters, but the moment he's alone, he changes back into his comfortable clothes, visibly relieved. It's a really small detail, but it reveals something quite universal: the act of masking. The need to perform to appear competent or professional while craving the safety of being ourselves. The cat cafe becomes a metaphor for comfort, a place where the mask drops for both humans and aliens alike. Lisa, the cafe owner, and even the animals, they are all characters who find safety in authenticity. And a beautiful part of Too Cute Crisis is the way it describes the bond between humans and animals. The famous saying of, you don't choose the animal chooses you. It's a spiritual kind of connection that might not happen instantly, but always feels meant to be. And it reflects a truth about human relationships too, that not every bond with one another feels like lightning. Some connections are gentle and they bloom over time, teaching us patience and care and humility. An example of this is when Azato's survey team members gradually adopt animals, like Gurumi taking a rabbit named Hinata, inspired by Lisa's relationship with Yozora. This slow blooming of affection heavily aligns with Bowlby's classic attachment theory. When humans form secure bonds with animals, it activates the exact same neural and psychological architecture as secure human relationships. These non-judgmental attachments give us a profound baseline of emotional stability. They mitigate deep social anxiety and offer us a rare space of absolute unconditional acceptance. In this story, there's also a really interesting sci-fi turn that is almost reminiscent of AI, when Lisa's team tried to replicate the animals on Earth with alien technology. And they fail. No matter how advanced their systems are, they can't replace the warmth, the imperfection, or spontaneity that makes a living being so enchanting. It's pretty much a metaphor for what we're seeing in real life. The way that technology, no matter how perfect, how precise, cannot replicate emotional connection, genuine emotional connection. And Too Cute Crisis is a reminder that some things such as love, cuteness, and even empathy are sacred precisely because they are imperfect. In media psychology, this failure illustrates the vital concept of perceived authenticity. Deep emotional bonding require a perception of genuine, unsimulated life. When we interact with a living being, our mirror neurons and psychological responses engage in a complex reciprocal dance. The moment an interaction feels synthetic or perfectly programmed, our psychological defense mechanisms kick in, preventing the vulnerability required to truly feel a connection. So by the end, Too Cute Crisis becomes something unexpectedly therapeutic. It reminds us to be present. It reminds us of how beautiful and special the natural things around us are, the living beings around us are, and how animals and our connections with them remind us to be present in the moment, to look up from our stress and our phones and notice what's right in front of us. Animals give us permission to nurture and to channel love, even when we have nobody else to give it to. They make us laugh and ground us into remembering that not everything in life needs to be productive to be meaningful. And for those who can't have children or live in solitude, pets often fill that natural human need to care for another living being, giving companionship and purpose to life, and in doing so, reminding us what empathy really means. Lisa also experiences the exact clinical mechanisms behind animal assisted therapy. Attentive engagement with animals systematically lowers cortisol levels, elevates oxytocin, and naturally anchors us to a state of restorative mindfulness. The beauty of life itself. It's about rediscovering innocence and wonder in a world that constantly hardens us, and remembering that sometimes what saves us isn't this grand wisdom or spiritual awakening, but the small act of holding something soft and warm and alive. So the next time that you feel disconnected from the world, maybe you just have stopped noticing how full it really is. So what about you? What's a moment or a creature that reminded you to fall in love with the world again? Let me know in the comments, and maybe we can all share a little bit of that wonder together. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!